What's up everyone? Welcome to Ashley Talks Movies. Today's video is a review of Megalopolis, a sprawling fable from director Francis Ford Coppola. The movie takes place in New Rome, which is basically a reimagined futuristic New York City where a brilliant architect named Cesar Catalina wants to build a utopia. But his vision for the future is at odds with the mayor and other powerful people who want to keep things the way they are in favor of their own self-interest. Before I jump into the review, do me a favor, like, comment, and of course subscribe so you don't miss any of the videos I post here on the channel. Megalopolis is Francis Ford Coppola's passion project. It's basically an allegory that draws parallels between the Roman Empire and a modern empire like America. It critiques everything from corporate greed, corrupt politics, capitalism, society, etc. But it's also a bloated, unfocused mess. This movie has an amazing cast, but they are unable to salvage this, which makes it really hard to praise any one performance because they all feel like they're for different movies. You have Adam Driver playing Caesar, and he is totally committed to the role. He's chewing the scenery like he's in a Shakespearean tragedy. And for the most part, that works. But then you have Aubrey Plaza playing a journalist named Waal Platinum, and yes, that's actually the character's name, Waal Platinum. And she's playing the character like she's in some kind of 1940s screwball comedy. And then Dustin Hoffman's in this movie, and he's in a minor role. But his role is basically just to show up and state really obvious things. For example, and this is not a spoiler, there's a scene in the movie where there's a wedding reception taking place, and there's an aerialist performing. Dustin Hoffman's character literally looks up at the aerialist and says, "Wow, look at that." And then it cuts to something else. Why? Megalopolis really is just all over the place, and honestly the story feels like it's cobbled together from a bunch of unfinished notes that Coppola was jotting down while he was coming up with the idea for this movie. There are scenes that seem to serve no other purpose than to just fill the runtime. And the dialogue is pretty awful. You have characters that will just spout complete monologues, often Shakespearean monologues or quotes from philosophers. And then the rest of the dialogue either is just too on the nose or doesn't make sense. Now, I know I've spent most of this review pointing out the negatives, but it's not all bad. There are actually a couple of things in Megalopolis that I actually did like. One is the cinematography. The cinematography in this movie really showcases the scale and the scope of what Coppola was going for. There are shots that look like they came from a painting or some type of art you would find in a museum. And many of the shots have this dreamlike look to it that really kind of, play up the idea of a fable. This fantasy that Coppola has created. And so I can appreciate what Coppola was going for here. Megalopolis is a very ambitious project. It also has an original concept, which is refreshing, especially because so many of the movies that come out nowadays are sequels or reboots, and so it's really hard to find something with an original idea. So I can give Megalopolis credit for that. Unfortunately, it doesn't really stick the landing. I think this movie is going to divide audiences. I think there will be people who really, really like this movie. They like how bold it is, ambitious it is, how experimental it is, how strange and odd and bizarre it is, and they will enjoy it. And then there will be people who are puzzled by it. That would be me. And not because the story is complicated, it's mostly just because it's all over the place. It's trying to do too much with too many things, and it just doesn't all come together. So those are my thoughts on Megalopolis. Share your thoughts in the comments, and of course, make sure you subscribe and stick around for more content like this.